Thank you, Aaron. And it's good to know that gasp has stuck with me, and I remembered it. I think the line was, "Vincent, I missed your birthday," and I heard the gasp, and I was like, "Oh, was that a good thing or a bad thing?" So it's good that it's good. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, my fellow writers. You're all amazing. I'm thrilled that Lunette's my first publication, and I'm thrilled that it's with Broken Sleep because they're brilliant. Lunette's very special. There she is. She's gorgeous. A lot has gone into Lunette. A lot of my experience with hypnotherapy, my experience with a grandparent with dementia, surrealism as just this fascination that I have. But I think it started in the pandemic, and I wanted to, as a writer, I wanted to write about this bonkers time, but I didn't want to write about the pandemic. So I wanted to put all of the emotion of the pandemic, of being isolated, of that yearning we all have to connect with people. So I'm going to read the first part. It's in 4 parts, and the first part is called Apparition. So enjoy. Canal orts ruminate in separate headspace. Soul, old hats, poor boy and Panama, decomposing animals, small parts of large things, torso, thick waters, vast dust, sifting dust, a winnowing system, you must heave through it. Scalp, often trodden on, mistaken for ground, that's how the animals got there. Little gills turret, narrowboat sand germinates like universe conception. I find myself in the floating sinking place. Sand compact me into a solid. I twitch to life in an upturned boat. I slide against the hat stand. I catch a pencil nib. I lean towards the plastic dado rail. Memories, memories, poor boy and Panama. In the current of Lunette, I cling to him. I pass through rot like cat through flap. As I cling, the sculptor steps to footpath from moving narrowboat. He nods at me, tips his hat, smiles. His work is done. The sculptor got along handsomely with Edvard, and Edvard makes a habit of telling me. We would talk of things you and I cannot. I sulk. The sculptor's predecessor was the hologram. There's the appendage. There's the antiquarian. There's the metaphysician, and there's the scholar. Begotten and begotten, walled and webbed. A lineage runs through Lunette. I dreamt of the float and sinking place last night, but Edvard didn't want to know. I dream today of moon jellyfish. I sink through Lunette's floor into canal water. I feel their glow, nymphs of light to my eyelids, large bulbous heads, thin pads of stretched matter. I don't open my eyes. I fear the illusion dissolving. Exhale and exhale and exhale. I sink further and sit at the canal bed. Something swims through the jellyfish. My eyes open to a blurred fence of scales. No more light from small moons. A new current moved them on. Edvard is elsewhere, sorting books, cleaning crockery, napping. Castellations of bulrush mimic propped up brooms. He pushes the tiller. Dent kill bulrush. We sit on the roof of Lunette. I tell him of the black mass, and he tells me he's seen it too. The Leviathan, he calls it. I call it Helgi. He fishes for it, tip-top and tipping, bobbing all day, his head on me, but I can't feel it. His scalp phasing in and out of my shoulder, but I can't feel it. Warmth is cold. 2 old men, one slightly more removed than the other. He dusts the checkerboard and moves my pieces for me. discs moving staggered. The game turns stale quick. The board stills between us as we, for the first time, talk. I was thinking about my yesterdays when he told me the fresh air'll do you good. I walk from Lunette and run through pillars of oak and lift from the ground. Up here, the canal is a child's finger drawn through green sand. I comprehend infinity. Edvard lassoes me down, swings a rope with an old iron tied to its end. This evening he tended to the bruise the iron gave me. You've a bad aim, I tell him. He chuckles. Who between the two of us is the psychopomp? The kettle whistles. He makes me a cup, knowing it will go cold. I pat Lunette on her cursive L as whisperings hook the air. And she described the long aesthetic itinerary as the purest abstraction I have ever seen. She would befriend the sculptor later in France, where the wind falls and everything goes silent. He smokes a pipe and reads Interviews with Francis Bacon. I hold the tiller tonight. Who escorts who? Who is the visitor? Who between the two of us is the psychopomp? We pass the same monuments each day. We passed a billboard advertisement of Shakespeare's gravestone twice yesterday. What is the shape of the canal? Edvard asked. A Mobius strip, I said. I apologised when I saw how distressed this made him. Be mindful of the arc of the tiller, I said. I don't want you falling in. The Tib is approaching. I feel its vibration below Lunette. It breathes. Its waters choke against Mancunian underbelly. I leave him today. A swan lands, bridge, canal curvature, a twig, a leaf falls, turns into ring planet. The footpath is a skirting board, the railings are cold shafts of rust, a twig and a leaf, ringed planet, little Saturn, and the horses would walk the bridge without detaching from the narrowboat. It was built like this. Cigarette boxes, it was built like this. Sandwich boxes like beer foam, I moved them. Woodlice, I moved them. They are moved and I jolt at the small thing on my knuckle of the thumb. Calmly, a swan lands. Tsh, tsh, tsh. An image. A cue as one participant pulled out, hiccuping over the line of the horizon. A cue as a line of tweed and cufflinks and heavy brows. A cue as the meshings of one into another until a doppelganger's familiarity sweeps. One has an itch and the others have to summon theirs. A line of left arms twitching, lifting, itching the backs of their ears. The population of the canal is between naps and performing the paranoid critical method. The population of the canal is looking inward, an eyed metronome. I leave him today. We pass the Worsley undergrounds, he makes breakfast. We pass the rapping bridge, he tells me to be mindful of the arc of the tiller. We pass the Barton aqueduct, we sit on Lunette's roof, he magnet fishes. I watch, we pass the pebbled oak, we lean against each other, our shadows collaged. We pass a pastel hedge, and he tells me of the paradox of words, that rhododendron is too geometric for a flower. I tell him to embrace the geometry. There's a clank and his arm jolts and he turns to me, happy. As we pull the rope, I recite Mina Loy's Brancusi's Golden Bird for him. The magnet is attached to a metal box, and as he places it on Lunette, everything vibrates. It's that damn box, he says. Don't go, he says. I tell him no visitor stays forever. We align with an arrow carved into the curb. I finish the last stanza, polished hysteria. And I slip from Lunette, the aggressive light strikes, and I fall into canal water and through the Tib trap door, the immaculate conception of the bird, and I experience a vortex, gorgeous reticence, memories, memories, poor boy in Panama. Thank you.